Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first episode at the MFT Pod. Your host is Flemex, and here accompanies me, the TakeOn.
1, 2, is this on? Nah, it is working. What's up, Flemex? How's your day going?
Pretty good, man. It's not working today. Day off. A lot to talk about. A lot of wrestling happened. A lot of drama happened. A lot of things that I really want to talk about for our first episode.
I
Which
hear
we
you. I
tried
hear
doing
you.
the first episode, but we always failed because of undisclosed reasonings behind my laziness, and a lot of things happened. But we'll talk about that maybe another day.
Man, I was just waiting to get out of work just that way I can do this already, man. We'll see. Because I was like, we got to start this ASAP, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta get that bread. But yeah, my day was pretty busy, you know, as you know, in public safety, it can get a little very, it can come at you all at once, you know?
No, I
It,
feel you. I feel you. But thankfully, everything is all good, man.
kind of like everything coming at you all at once during WrestleMania weekend. Let's talk about that.
Fuck, WrestleMania. What?
Who are of WWE?
So I just want to point out, and maybe I'm part of the low minority, probably with the majority, but WrestleMania sucked. And this is coming from me. Obviously, I know that I've seen a lot of people complain about WrestleMania 25 main event, which I remember was Randy Orton and Triple H. That was pretty bad. But as a kid, I loved it, right? I stopped watching and everything. I'm barely back to it. I think which was in WrestleMania 40 when Cody Rhodes won the title, all that good stuff. But this WrestleMania just was super underwhelming. It sucked. And then the PR, the PR of WWE just sucked, dude. What do you think? That's for palabra, fool. You need to talk, fool.
Oh, my bad.
Fool, now we gotta start it
My
again. Fool, that's what.
Nah, we can't start all over again, man. We were doing pretty good. Hey, they're gonna forgive us, right? Y'all are gonna forgive us, right? So, hey, so we got multiple points to talk about during WWE's MAGA week. You know, we gotta start with John Cena refusing to talk ill will on Vinny.
That's the only. I mean, I get his perspective. That man, Vince McMahon, pretty much made John Cena. John Cena owns his name, owns pretty much everything about him. A kid who was just pretty much lost, and obviously was given the opportunity, had so much success in the company from the old to 2000s all the way to almost 2025. It's kind of crazy, and I get his perspective. It's pretty much like a dad figure of him, but during the circumstances of what is going on, I just don't think it's. I just thought it was a perfect time to just close your mouth and and zip it. Not talk about him, just talk about your
It
main
was tone
event.
deaf. It was tone deaf.
Yeah, and I get it. It is his like best friend, I think. Well, I don't know, but I mean, under the circumstances, and I think we talked about this, like obviously privately. But if one of our friends was indicted with like fucking severe cases, I feel like that would be like a very iffy situation. I wouldn't want to talk about him or about it. I don't know. That's just my
100%.
opinion.
I agree. I don't know how he could just talk about it. I wouldn't be able to talk about it. It'd just be very uncomfortable. Cause it's kind of like, damn, like rub, why do you gotta pour salt on an open wound? You know,
Yeah, so
like
that's one thing.
you must be tone deaf to not really recognize that.
Yeah, and
Um,
then obviously WWE had a terrible week. Obviously, there's a lot of political views being thrown left and right. You had Roman Reigns saying, "Yeah, uh, I like Donald Trump and stuff like that," and then Triple H saying he's a heel, which is so dumb, man. Like that man is so goofy. That
he's a
CTE has
mark
got
for
to him.
himself, bro. He's a mark for himself.
There's
Just like
no way this man said. So the economy is probably crashing. There's a lot of tense within. everywhere around the whole country. And this man really said he's a great president because he's a great heel. He makes something out of it. Like, bro, I don't know, Triple H, something else.
Let's talk about how learn to be fans.
Oh, also that his criticism. He's crashing out and he's crashing out, but I really want to point out why he's crashing out. So yesterday, obviously The Rock to this Wednesday, The Rock went on an interview pretty much doing damage control, saying, "Oh, I came in to," because he's been doing these little like showing up and nothing comes out of it. There's no story to it. The final boss, whatever, he comes in and that's it. And it leaves pretty much the creative room to just be like, damn, like what are we gonna do now? Like what's the premise? Do we have to pivot? Do we have to do this? Which is why Triple H is crashing out because the fans are pretty much complaining. And with due respect, that man should not complain why the fans are being pressed about it because it's like it makes no sense to what the creative direction is. And it's just bad and he's crashing out. He's having a valid crash out because pretty much his boss Dwayne is just messing things up for creative team, and he's feeling the backlash because you and I are putting the blame on him.
Oh wow, damn! I didn't see it like that from a big picture. I like that you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah, because in the beginning, and we have it in the little notes, but it's like him criticizing or him crashing out because it's like, well, you fans need to stay on your own lane, but it's like, brother, you're crashing out because your boss is making you trip and having to do a lot of these movements and it's just been bad for WWE to be honest. We had Nick Khan trashing on Tony, pretty much saying like, oh, like these bozos over there by Jacksonville. And we'll let them do whatever they want. We don't bench people, and it's like, bro, why would
They're
you
the
say
underdog.
something like they're not only the underdogs, but they're putting things in their mouth. Like they're putting splurring things out of their mouth when they're doing the same thing. You had Omos, who literally has been put in bench. You had there's so many people that are just being in catering, and it just sucks because they're the ones benching people and then releasing them.
Should I
So
be feeling bad for Triple H now? Cause how you explained it.
what do you mean?
I mean, cause he's crashing. He's crashing out, and for valid reason because his boss Dwayne is not prioritizing creative.
He's not. He's just showing up whenever he wants. Creative has to oblige to him because it's like he's your boss. He's the chairman. TKO and it's gonna suck, bro. But essentially TKO and Dwayne are like tight. So whenever Triple H is messing up, they're gonna kick him out. And I already know that they're gonna kick him out because
Ooh.
he's having a valid crash out. No, and that's what another thing about WrestleMania weekend. Ticket sales, dude. Ticket sales are like atrociously expensive. The
I
greed is
see.
getting to them. The hype is getting to them. Yes, WrestleMania and Triple H's era has been fantastic, right? Obviously, the Bloodline story, all of the little things, but it's just TKO is being too greedy and they're putting too much prizes on these fans. And props to them. They have money. I'm not anybody to be like, hey, you should spend this, and this. They have the money, they have the luxury. Enjoy. You guys are fans. There's nothing to be taken away. But the greed is getting to the Fed, and it's gonna affect them in the long term. Honestly,
Dog, remember when Netflix just I mean WWE Raw had just joined Netflix and
yeah,
we checked the ticket sales, bro. Remember? You remember how much the cheapest, the very top seats were?
like 200, I believe.
I think
Like
that's a little
200, like
nah.
200.
That's probably like I mean, probably maybe you're right. I thought the lowest was 93 actually.
I
I
think
don't
so. It
know.
was like $100, but even then, it's like we went to an AEW show and we spent like 40 bucks, I think, and we weren't. I mean, we weren't that top, but we were in the middle section. It wasn't
It
that
was
bad,
it was cool, bro. It was cool.
and it was
I
way
went
better wrestling.
I went to AEW Revolution with my girl, and man, we were at the very top because you know it was last minute. Sheesh, it was cool. It was cool, man. For sure, we were a lot closer, but because we were at the forum, and that, quite frankly, as I'm not sure if you've been to the crypto arena before. Have you?
I don't think so. No.
Ah, shit. Well, the crypto arena is a lot bigger than the forum. It's kind of crazy, but of course, it's obvious that WWE can host a regular Raw or SmackDown at the crypto arena, and AEW uses crypto arena for pay per view, but they use a forum for their weekly show like Dynamite. But interesting to point out. Um, where were we leaving off? We were just leaving off at
So essentially, the weekend prior to WrestleMania was just sucky. Bashing. Essentially, to summarize, a lot of politics came into place. You found out that your favorite wrestler was conservative, knowingly that these people are millionaires and that they do not care about us. To be honest, let's be real here. They just want taxes low, and with all respect, I mean, what can we do about it? There's nothing we can do about it. A lot of politics came into that weekend. A lot of trash talking to AEW. Even then, they're way better at wrestling because obviously, and we'll get to it. Well, personally, WrestleMania sucked, and only like 2 matches were good out of it. Therefore, I just want to point out that it's just weekend sucked, and now let's go to what WrestleMania was. Night one, ass, ass. You seen ass before? It's bigger than ass, dude. Jey Uso,
Gee.
ass, dude. That match was so bad. There's no chemistry between Gunther and Jey Uso, but hey, like Triple H says, it's natural. The crowd loved them and whatever. But I do want to get to the point where which Karrion Cross pointed out. But we'll talk about WrestleMania first.
I
WrestleMania night one, and this is just my point, and you'll probably say the same thing. WrestleMania to me felt like I was watching Raw in the background.
I can't really relate to that. I watched WrestleMania through clips. You saw it through TikTok Live, right?
No, I saw it through Netflix. Shout out to my ex who still has her, who I still have her Netflix account, and she doesn't know.
Yeesh. She don't know she don't know the shout out. Anyway, and I I didn't realize it was gonna be on Netflix, man. I didn't realize I was missing out like that.
Yeah, it was on
Damn,
Peacock and Netflix.
I feel dumb. But I was catching up on it through X, and I can't honestly, man. I That's just how I catch up on it nowadays. I saw that Jey Uso won, and I was like, damn. I mean, just seeing that he's very popular, and Triple H pointing out that, but he's popular. Doesn't that kind of do like a little small disservice to wrestling, where it's kind of like, damn, it's kind of obvious that we're booking him like that because he's popular, not because he's a good wrestler.
He's so hypocritical,
It kind of eliminates the purpose of wrestling. It's more kind of like a popularity contest.
not only that, but he went on an interview talking about Jey Uso, and to me, it sounded like, yeah, Jey Uso is pretty bad at wrestling in ring performance, but hey, he got overly naturally over with the crowd. I mean, that's better, and it's so hypocritical of him because during prior to that LA Knight, which I don't know, I'm not a big fan of, honestly, but
Yeah,
his um his performance during his popularity, everybody was cheering for him. Why didn't he get a push? Personally, for me, I don't think he deserved a push. But putting the basis on Triple H, him saying, "Oh, but he was overly natural." Why didn't push him?
it's interesting. I like to like think of it from both ends. It probably might be like a way to challenge him because you know how LA Knight has carried that charisma since in the indies. And you know not many indie wrestlers got that come in with that charisma up into their peak career. LA Knight did. So it's kind of like, okay, I see you got game. Let's up it up a notch. Let's make you work harder and see if and see that one moment that you can, then we can pull the trigger and be like, yeah, you're our
Yeah,
champion.
I don't know.
He
9-1 was.
he, he could be the world champion, actually, a better world champion than Jey Uso, in my opinion. Don't you agree?
Speaking of which, the world champs for wrestling right now are just bad enough. You have
Gee.
Jey Uso. You have really bad. Anyways, to me, 9-1 was a literally Monday Night Raw, putting it in the background noise. Gunther, the world title opening, ass. The War Raiders and New Day, ass. Ray Phoenix, shout out to him. He got his WrestleMania moment. He didn't win, but it was a good match. But it doesn't go take away that the first two matches of WrestleMania, it's like the Super Bowl for wrestlers, for wrestling fans, and that's how you come out ass. Anyway, Jade Cargill and Naomi, I really like the match. I just think it just the energy was brought down with those two first matches. LA Knight and Jacob Fatu, amazing match, but like I'm repeating it over. Having those two matches in the beginning just drained it, to be honest.
bro.
Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, dude, bad. I don't know, it just felt weird.
I think I call me a Jay Cargo hater, but or a sour AEW fan, but I don't like Jay Cargo. I don't like her, bro. I don't like her. I don't know. She just comes off so condescending, bro. And yes, she can't even get a singles a single run yet.
Yeah, but we'll see.
That
I genuinely thought Naomi should have won. I think she's having a great in ring performance, and her comeback to the Fed. It's been great. Personally, I catch up on I think it's going well. But the only thing that saved night one from being completely ass is the triple threat match with the power horses, Reigns, Seth, and Punk. Amazing
Punk,
cinematic match. I guess you could say
fire
cinematic match
burns,
because it wasn't even
fire,
wrestling.
this fire burns, man.
I geeked out because as a kid I love CM Punk, and shout out to TakeOn because he added CM Punk in one of our immature high school group chats with we when we added a lot of wrestlers, and he blocked us. So shout out to the TakeOn for having my favorite wrestler block me on Instagram.
I find that a flex. I don't know. I find that a flex, but I understand at the same time. I understand, but
So genuinely,
we're at the point where we can look back at it and just laugh because
yeah.
we were just young and stupid.
But what I
But
really liked about the
sorry about
match
that,
is,
CM Punk. We love you.
but the crazy part is that match it wasn't like a Will Osprey, Kenny Omega triple threat match, but it was just good. It was simply good from everything. It pretty much ended the Bloodline saga right there. No more. It's done. It ended it, and that's what it made you as a fan keep up to what's gonna happen next. Right, the main event saved that whole card that night one from being completely ass, and it was
There's a
just good. I don't know. What's your opinion?
there's a time I felt like Roman Reigns. Not gonna lie. Overall, I think I think it was a good timing that it ended. It was dragging on too long, especially after the what was it, the Tribal Chief throwdown? What was that match?
Which one?
Roman versus Solo.
Oh,
I feel like after that, it just for me, it just died out. Like where Roman Reigns disappeared, Solo disappeared. Now he's having this storyline with Jacob Fatu, which I'll be honest, as a Jacob Fatu fan, I feel terrible that I haven't been catching up on that because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but I have seen small clips or glimpses of it where I see Jacob Fatu kind of like kind of like push lightly push Solo from his shoulder, like get out of my way type of thing. Like I'm taking over type of deal. Um, I think it was a good thing that it's ending. I feel like that's really as much as I can really answer because I'm not really I'm not too much informed what goes on with the WWE. But however, I feel like it is important that now that we talk about that the Bloodline saga is over, we can now talk about the alliance with Seth Rollins and the wise man Paul Heyman.
yeah, that was crazy. Which is so Monday Night Raw. Obviously, that happened 2 days ago. Great. I guess they're building on the Evolution 2.0. Like I said, Bloodline Saga is over. pretty much in that group, you have Seth Rollins, who is like pretty much Triple H. You have Braun Breaker, who's essentially Bautista. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what's going on.
We're gonna be Randy
And it
Orton.
sounds so hypocritical of me because I'm like I'm criticizing, but I'm still watching. But I don't watch like religiously every Monday. Like you. I just see the clips. I just see the highlights.
I feel like
And
huh?
no,
Uh-huh.
continue.
I was just gonna say that I'm more caught up with what's going on with AEW than with WWE. You know, watching too much wrestling can, sometimes you can't fit it all in your schedule. You got to choose one that you're able to catch up with. And for me, it's always been AEW since day one because I've just been.
All right. Calm down, calm down. Okay, so WrestleMania 2. I think it's the opposite. They had amazing. I genuinely thought it was better than night two. The I love Io Sky, and I don't know why you're not a fan of her, but Io Sky,
Never
Bianca
said
Belair, Rhea Ripley, amazing, amazing. That
never said
match,
that. I never said that. I like Io Sky's theme song. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've heard it a couple times. It's lit. But I don't know much about Io Sky. Like I said, it's so much to
that
fit in.
that match was amazing. I shout out to the women out there. Women's
Shout
professional
out to
wrestling
women's
is amazing.
wrestling, man. Shout out to women's wrestling. Anyway, care to share some of your favorite Io Sky matches before we digress?
It's when she went to Marigold. When the Fed finally let the wrestlers go over there and go to other promotions besides the Fed. And then this one, I generally really like this triple threat from Io Sky. I like her as a champion. She deserves it. She's literally the best wrestler they have in the main roster, to be honest. And I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it and who's gonna even overthrow her. Because to be honest, I genuinely don't know. Because I think she's one of the best wrestlers the Fed has, and if they lose her, I think it would be a huge loss. But yeah, to be honest, I just think Night 2 was better. They had the Fatal 4 Way, Braun Breaker, Penta, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. I was surprised, obviously, because of the Raw following that night. Obviously, you have Braun Breaker, who's like the Batista now. So, and they had Dominic Mysterio, who's pretty much got all the
IC
love, and he
champion,
deserves it.
IC champion. He's my IC champion. He deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, he really does deserve it. I genuinely was rooting for Finn Balor, but that man is washed.
He's what Dominic is. He's doing amazing. He's so great at what he's doing. Like John Cena said, he said that Dominic does everything so effortless. Like at his age, imagine 10 years from now, bro. Keep in
Yeah,
mind, Dominic is not that older than us,
yeah,
and that man
and
has multiple decades in his career to get better. Imagine that he could possibly actually, for real, make his own path with the Mysterio name, and it'll still be a big household name
shout
in
out
wrestling.
to him. Shout out to Dominic.
Dominic
I
is
I was rooting for him. When once he won, I was like, yeah, he deserves it.
he deserves it.
He
My
he
man.
does deserve it, and it's good because I mean, to be honest, WrestleMania was underwhelming based on just the matches. The main event, uh, you know. The only reason why I was rooting for John Cena and I was telling you this is nostalgia. That's pretty much it. That was the only reason. I just didn't want Ric Flair to hold that the longest, the most championships held by him. But I mean, other than that, that match was ass. That main event was ass, dude. And I get the whole gimmick of like the whole I'm like this isn't like I'm the real champion. This isn't about wrestling
Have to
and stuff
wrestle.
like that. Like I don't have to wrestle, but it was just ass. And then you have Travis Scott. I mean, shout out to him. I have all his shoes, but and I'm like a geek over his collabs with Nike and Jordan. But it's you know, which gets to the point of what I really want to talk about. Karrion Cross's promo of he did, where he essentially kind of just said like, yeah, like the Fed is just like one could be an amazing wrestler, one could provide amazing ideas, and always gets shut down by the creative higher ups. Why? Because they want views, they want money, they want pop moments where it's like you have casuals talking about it, and it gets and I get it. I mean, from a business perspective, cool, but it really demoralizes and makes like other people who should have a WrestleMania moment. Not Jey Uso, that's for sure. He doesn't deserve it. He's ass in wrestling. To have an opportunity, to have an opportunity to get overly natural. They just look for the wow, oh my goodness, this happened moments, and it sucks because there's a lot of wrestlers out there that deserve um their like an opportunity,
If
and
we're being honest, it's nepotism.
and it's yeah, and even if people say no, it's because they suck, then why are they in the Fed? Like, there's a reason why the WWE even hired them right?
They're good at something
It,
that they look for.
exactly, it's
Like
like at a job, at a regular
it's
job
a
place.
machine,
You're obviously hired for your attributes, your traits, and why you and there's a reason why you get the job.
and what
Half
you
of the
can bring
people in the
in.
roster are in the job in the first place because they brought something to the table. Obviously, it is entertainment and whatever you have to like keep up with, but like there's a lot of people that aren't given that opportunity, and it sucks because they're only looking for money,
Hmm.
which fucking sucks. And I don't know. I just genuinely think it it's whatever. Honestly.
So unfortunately, that at times you just have to find a way to monetize off your passion because you don't want to be stuck in doing what you don't like doing forever.
Yep. But let's talk about the TNA. I was surprised that Randy Orton's secret opponent was. We missed out on Kevin Owens, which sucks. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think TNA got buried after being pretty
Nah,
much? It was like a squash match, or was it like a viral moment? Like what the WWE wants, the wow factors.
I guess in a way it's something that I feel like it's something that glazing being partners with the WWE means you have to glaze them. You have to glaze them. You have to meat right them. I saw in the interview where with Joe Hendry, I forget where I saw it. I'm not sure whether you sent it to me because you sent me a lot. You either sent it to me or I ran into it like just casually opening up X, but I ran into it and he was explaining that he doesn't feel bummed out that he took that he put over Randy Orton because in that interview it kind of came off like at the end of the day Randy Orton is a legend. He's got status next to Joe Hendry. Like who's Joe Hendry? You know? Like he's known but here let me rephrase that cuz then shit what if I get attacked, you know? Like he's a TikTok star. Okay, my bad. Randy Orton has the most experience in the business, and obviously, looking at Randy, he's a tank. Ain't no way you're gonna have Joe Hendry run over Randy Orton like that. Am I right?
No, you're right. And apparently, I think he handpicked him. If I'm
Yeah, he handpicked him, and on top of that, after he RKO'd him, Randy Orton did Joe Hendry's pose, which is something
exactly.
that it just brings what attention is attention at the end of the day, whether it serves as burial or not. I mean, at the end of the day, TNA is getting their money out of that partnership. They're getting their benefit. Like they're getting brand awareness because the TNA champion was there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm very open to hear anybody else's counter argument. I'm not closed minded. You can always comment down below or anywhere where you want where you hear this. You can always
I
rebuttal and
I just
say otherwise. I'm open ears. Continue.
I genuinely think it wasn't more of a barrier, but I think it's crazy, yo. Like that a TNA World Champion showed up at WrestleMania. When would you have
Exactly.
had that? When would you have? When would in many years as you would never have seen that before?
If you told little us that WWE was gonna give a spotlight to a company that we don't even know about, and they were gonna like involve them in their shows, we'll be like, nah, there's no other wrestling.
Vince would
There's no
have never
other
let
wrestling.
that.
Huh?
Vince would have never let that slide.
He would have never let that. But we're under Triple H. We're under TKO. We're under different management. Nick Khan. A lot of those fools are very open to business, and whatever brings in that money and maintains them their status and increases their value, they're all ears.
Yeah, that's crazy. And shout out to them, man. I mean, shout out to TNA. They're gonna get. Do you think they're gonna get bought like AAA?
I wouldn't doubt if it ends up being like an OVW type of thing for WWE. You get me?
So you
I
don't think they're
wouldn't.
gonna get bought?
I maybe, but like, what do you think if TNA were to be bought by WWE? Would there still be TNA, or would it just be a whole library? It would be a whole library, right?
Yeah. So what I think if the WWE buys TNA, this is obviously speculative. This is just my opinion. They would buy the library, or they would just conjoin it with the performance center. I don't
Yeah.
think they would do anything with it. And I think the reports are showing that after they bought AAA, they're just gonna they're not gonna keep using the name. They're gonna change it to NXT Mexico. So I guess the the NXT worldwide is actually starting to become something after so many
Maybe.
years of being put on hold
Man, I don't know. We all saw it coming, right? WWE buying WWE buying AAA.
with how
We
Conan
did
is.
see that
Yeah.
coming. Okay, you explain your end because I know you hinted on threads. I know you've kept up a lot closer with Penta and Phoenix situation. What have you gathered that had already had you speculating? Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Well, essentially, it was. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I totally forgot. But from my point of view, it was just that they wanted their lick back from to TK. It was like more of a middle finger, like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." Pretty much. I don't know. To me, it was just like they were just gonna put the middle finger to TK. But But I just want to point out that CMLL is way better than AAA, and this is just according to my
Oh yeah.
dad who would watch Consejo Mundial as a kid, and I think up to like teenage years. Obviously, he stopped. Became a dad and responsibilities and all. But he did say that, and even my mom, as crazy as it sounds, but they would watch AAA, but it was more of like an entertainment thing, which is essentially what the
It was a
WWE is. Yep.
Lucha circus, pretty much exotic. Yeah, Consejo Mundial is very traditional, very pure. Speaking of that, I'm leaving in a couple days. I'm gonna watch a Consejo Mundial show. I will keep updating you guys on online wherever you guys are following me. The TakeOn, it's spelled with a E. I mean with a three instead of the E. I will be updating you guys. I'll be going to Consejo. But we just wanted to talk about that Consejo. Shout out to Consejo for maintaining pure. They are maintaining a successful relationship with AEW. Which, speaking of that, let's keep that on hold. Let's keep that on hold. What do you think about AEW and Arena Mexico?
Really excited, honestly. Two companies that actually wrestle. Oh, it's gonna be a banger. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, there's no story." No, I get the story point, but like, what about you had a story with Jay Uso and Gunther, and look how that came out. It was bad. So anybody that tells me, "Oh, what's the story?" Look at the story that we had, that build up, and it was ass. So
Balance between alternatives, man. Like WWE, I like. First of all, I want to point out that the differences, kind of like the tweet that Taz tweeted out, saying that we're comparing cats and dogs. That's essentially AEW and WWE. I want to point out that WWE, whenever you watch WWE, think of it as like you're watching a movie, a cinematic movie. You're
yeah,
watching
like
a
for
narrative,
Hispanics, like for
a
Hispanics, it would be
novela,
like a novela for us. Like literally, you're there to see what's going up next,
it's a
which is
soap
crazy
opera.
because Monday Night Raw only had like three matches, and it was just story. It's like a
Mhm.
story driven show. where it's like you're just seeing what's gonna happen next, and you have to stay up to date because you don't want to miss out. Meanwhile, for
AEW on the
meanwhile,
other hand is like watching an action movie. You see all those crazy spots that Osprey, Takeshita, Kenny Omega. What are the names am I missing?
Fletcher,
Swerve, Fletcher, all those fools do some crazy ass spots.
but
At
it's
that point, you're
good.
kind of like, are these guys even human? And yes, you're anytime you watch a action movie, let me give you a quick example. John Wick. John Wick, that the man, he may not look bulky, but he can take a punch. You've seen it. He can either dodge a punch or when he gets hit, he can get back up like Osprey and Takeshita or Kenny Omega. That's basically what AEW is. AEW is like watching an action movie. Yeah, stories are always in progress. They're not always going to be as clear as the Fed, but AEW has their own identity, and with when you look at acts in AEW like Tony Storms, you must realize that I want to also point out another thing that if you ever watch Glow on Netflix, I 100% recommend any of you, especially you, Flemex, you should watch Glow. You should definitely
Well,
watch Glow
this is the
because
first
it
time
would.
I'm hearing it.
Huh?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Women's wrestling, bro. It was women's wrestling back in the 80s. I'm not gonna say that the show is literally went off the historical book, but it's like an example. It gives you an example of what wrestling was like, especially for women, was for the 80s. How wrestling was also a male dominated sport, but in this movie, I mean this in this show, it was basically about some aspiring actresses struggling to find a gig and also just making ends meet. And they heard of a gig that was wrestling. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling is the acronym for Glow. So those aspiring actresses tried out and they learned on the day of what they were in for, and they all agreed they were trained to wrestle, and it was a good story. The way it went, how storytelling went in the 80s was going based off of the Cold War with the US and the Soviet Union, which is how like the main eventers of Glow are what they represented. The babyface represented USA and the heel represented Soviet Union. That's how it was in every show. Like Glow was kind of like a live show, and eventually they started picking up on storylines because they were like, who the fuck cares about watching women wrestle? Like they start sexualizing them, So I in those moments that they started to notice the decline in their product. They started to find a way to they're like, oh, okay, so we're just objects. Okay, we're gonna make a narrative and also like kind of like invite you with our looks, so that way we can still keep our viewership. So they would go on an experiment route to where like
Ah,
they would like do less matches and do more segments because they broke that formula. Unfortunately, there wasn't a continuation of that show, and I'm gonna get to it in a bit. But they started experimenting and they started doing more segments than there was shows, especially because there was a lot of different circumstances that led to certain wrestlers not being able to wrestle. But going forward to that, the show, unfortunately, I can hype it up as much as I am. I wish I can not hype it up as much as I am because the ending is horrible, is not ideal. The ending is
now I'm not
not
gonna
ideal.
watch it. Now I'm not gonna watch it because you
Hey,
said it's
hey,
horrible.
nah, man, no. Look, you gotta give it a chance. If you really advocate women's wrestling, you gotta give it a chance.
But you just said the ending is terrible.
No, I said it's not ideal
Oh,
because
okay.
it was left as a cliffhanger. It was left
Ah,
as a
okay.
cliffhanger, and the show canceled during the pandemic. Like there was just nothing else to continue off of during the pandemic. A lot of things canceled. You have to watch though, man. It's historical to women's wrestling, and you'll understand why Tony Storm went that route. In my opinion, I feel like her gimmick is heavily inspired, but not only like Hollywood starlet like Shirley Temple, or Marilyn Monroe, but she also drew influences from Glow. I feel like she did. If you ever see this Tony Storm and you ever confirm, shout out to you. I am a big fan of you. I am a big fan of you. I have been watching since your whole timeless gimmick started, and I am a big fan.
Palabra.
Palabra, homie.
But speaking of AEW, can you tell me what's going on there?
Hey man, I heard you say that AW's beast as fuck. I don't care. What's your explanation?
It is, but like I said, you have the WWE with their cinematic and naturally over, quote unquote, it over with the crowd moments, wow factor. But it's just like I want to watch and enjoy some wrestling. So sometimes I tune in and I see the matches and they're amazing.
I agree. I agree. AEW matches never miss, especially when you watch the pay-per-views. Ooh,
Oh yeah, AEW pay-per-views
beautiful.
throw whatever the WWE has. It's literally nothing compared to it. And
I really
but
wish all
that doesn't mean I'm like a big fan because I genuinely don't like the Death Rider storyline. But an interesting point that you were telling me that the ticket sales and pretty much viewership has not declined.
So I haven't looked closely into ticket sales. I mean, I know we are aware that AEW has started going into smaller venues.
They're doing
Uh,
their own thing and shout out to them
they're doing
because
their own thing, and
they're doing their
yeah,
own thing and it's working.
I haven't heard them bash on the Fed in a cool minute, and they're doing their own thing. So I've been respecting that. Shout out Tony Khan. Shout out to you. You've been doing well, bud. You're doing pretty good. So you wanted me to explain why Death Riders are ironically saving AEW
Yeah,
because John
elaborate.
Moxley is what's that one phrase? He's keeping that title warm. It's kind of like the bloodline storyline. We you and I have to be real and admit this, but we there was a time where we were hating on Roman Reigns' title reign, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Exactly. It was always the same thing. The tribal chief always won through cheating. It was never a clean match, and that's what John Moxley's matches are. They're never clean, and it's always him winning. It's never like we didn't get a winner. This could have been a good time. Nah, dude, John Moxley is keeping that title warm. The person that beats John Moxley is gonna receive the biggest pop ever. So far, John Moxley has kept steady viewership because you just don't know what's gonna go on. Obviously, there's no clear direction. Obviously, with the promos where the Death Riders are going compared to the Bloodline, but
Huh. You make an interesting point because even though we criticize and as fans we get mad over like the terrible endings and it's just like why is why is this old man still winning? We still watch at the end of the day. It applies to
exactly,
both promotions, it applies to any promotion. We literally still watch and we're still engaged with it. We still thread about it. I mean, I don't. I get too lazy. Like I said, I don't watch this religiously, but we still watch at the end of the day. We keep up to date. So regardless of what the decision making is, and it makes sense. Roman Reigns winning and it was pissing everybody off, but we still watch.
I had to grow up from that because I remember in AEW Revolution, I was so mad, bro. I was so mad. My girl really saw me have like a little manic episode that I wanted Christian to win, bro. I was cheering for Christian, and I see that man tap out, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I literally thought that would have been his moment to win the championship. We were all mad. I'm sure. Obviously, there was like the a fair percentage of like Moxley fans that were happy he won, but there was also a few of us that were mad. There were some that were mad that Cope lost. There were some that were there were a lot of us that were mad that Christian lost, and we're mad, right? And we stay getting mad when John Moxley wins, but at the end of the day, he's keeping that title warm for that next babyface. And who's that next babyface? We can always keep. guessing, predicting, but that babyface is gonna get over. They're gonna get over. It could be Osprey, maybe. Like if we watch John Moxley versus Osprey match, sheesh. I don't know, man. I feel like Moxley's gonna go to work with Osprey. You don't think so?
Yeah.
He's gonna have to work, man. He can't work like DDT paradigm
Yeah,
shift.
it's not gonna be an easy. He's gonna have to actually work out.
Nah, man, Osprey is way too fast for Moxley. Moxley may have endurance, but man, Osprey has not only endurance, but he that man can go. Osprey can go. Big fan of Osprey. Where were we heading towards with AEW? What else did you want to discuss about?
Honestly, I just want to pretty much kind of wrap it up and say that AEW is the better wrestling show, and WWE will
Definitely.
always be the
Speaking of my Revolution experience,
entertainment.
man. Speaking of my Revolution experience, man, Mariah May. Let's talk about Mariah May.
Oh, for a brief moment, yeah, that I kind of want to bring in like how a relationship works, as in like a best friend type of thing. Um, I guess there's reports of her leaving, or her contract is almost ending, right? And she's possibly, because she's like a big Triple H and wants a WrestleMania moment fan, and there's speculations that she might go over there. And it kind of makes sense, dude, because after her amazing match and her trilogy match with Tony Storm, it's like she's not on TV anymore. So it makes you wonder, she might just leave AEW, which sucks because her best friend, I guess, is gonna go over there.
And that's all she'll ever be known for in AEW as Tony Storm's rival. Her rivalry. She'll only be known for her rivalry with Tony Storm.
Yeah, because she didn't defend it with anybody, or did she? I don't know.
I
You
mean,
elaborate on.
yeah, she did, but like
It
it
didn't
just
click.
wasn't as loud. It wasn't as loud as it was with Tony, bro. Like she had like a little mini thing storyline with Anna Jay. With Anna Jay not after losing with Mariah May, she can't compete for the AEW Women's Champion with, and they ended up changing that stipulation with Mariah May, not forever, because that would have killed Anna Jay like it did with Cody Rhodes. That probably would have sent Anna Jay into WWE. But yeah, so that happened. She had the little beef with Anna Jay in Collision, which I know I know you're not able to make time for that, because there's only so much, we can both agree.
Work is busy.
Mariah May going to the Fed to WWE, it just makes sense, man. I mean, what can we say? She is what they look for. She is a blonde. She can act. She can talk. She
Yeah,
can wrestle her ass. She can damn wrestle her. I cannot. I can First of all, I want to emphasize that she can wrestle her ass. So imagine her going to WWE, already trained and having that background in Japan. She's a badass. She's a badass. She's a complete package for WWE.
but I have a question for you. Let's just say I'm at AEW, right? And you're in New Japan, like how you always say that you want to start. If you had an opportunity to start your wrestling career, you would go to New Japan. So let's just say you're in New Japan and contract ended and you're going to AEW with me as because and we're best friends. We're like very known to be like, oh yeah, like this is my best friend type of vibe. And I tell you, hey, I'm gonna go to the WWE. How would you feel after you sign your contract and everything?
I wouldn't care, brother. I had things to do.
The money's money. Money's money, right?
Money's money, bro. I don't care.
Yep.
Bro,
Money's
because
money.
for you, in your opinion, I mean, maybe in your case, you're like, I really was depending on that wrestling career to financially support me. For me, in my case, I probably do it for the love of the game, like Osprey. Like he literally he was in Japan, and now he's like, you know what? He managed to negotiate with Tony Khan and be like, you know what? I want to make this much amount of money. I could be your biggest baby face, but I want to stay in England, and you're gonna fly me over. How about that, dude?
Hey,
Osprey could do indie. Can do UK indie dates. And that's something that I could do if I were an AEW an AEW wrestler. Again, it's all about the money. For me, it could be about the love of the game, the money. At the same time, I could do everything I'm managing to do that I love. You know, at the end of the
yeah,
day, it's different. Everybody has a different lifestyle. If you go to the WWE, I don't mind. You went for the money, good for you. Congrats. They found something in you that they need, and you're gonna do great. I'm happy for you. That's my response.
palabra, homie. That's what I like. We gotta be sellouts. Just kidding, guys.
But yeah, man, I don't mind Mariah May. If you go to WWE, I wish you the best. You were amazing in your role. I enjoyed your work in AEW, and I look forward to wherever you wound up in the future.
Shout out to her. Had an amazing trilogy with Tony Storm. And we'll see what happens next if she actually leaves or she stays or Tony Khan convinces her.
Yep. Nah, she. I don't know. What do you see? What do you if she doesn't leave WWE? What rivalries do you see working with Mariah May in AEW?
I would book her with. That's why I'm not a booker. I would book her with Io Sky. Or I mean, it's cause a lot of people want against Tiffany Tiffy time, and I'm just like two blondes, meh,
Yeah, you're kind of like confused which is which.
right? And as a casual myself, I genuinely don't care.
Ah, I for me, I don't know. Personally, for me, I
Overall,
I
overall,
wouldn't know what to bring her up with.
WWE had a shit WrestleMania. Triple H sucks, crashing out because his boss changes everything. Bro doesn't want fans to
Criticizes shit. Tony Khan's
criticize.
been doing pretty good,
Tony
man.
Khan's doing his own thing. I mean, I still want him to crash out on Twitter, but I mean, he's doing his own thing, so he's not even giving any slight attention to it. He even moved ROH to from WrestleMania weekend. Which shout out to him because him and his like 20 fans paying for ROH online got mad or something. I don't know.
Oh man, you wish you had saw ROH.
ROH in the mud. Thank you guys for watching. ROH in the mud. Nobody watches that except the Take On because who really watches it?
Hey man, the next breakout star could be in ROH, man. Stay tuned.
Send
Yeah,
them.
you know
Send Hook.
what? Stay tuned,
Send
y'all.
Hook
Stay
to
tuned.
ROH. Send Hook to ROH. My ass.
Send Hook to ROH. Send Nick Wayne to ROH, bro.
Nobody watches that. It's not the Performance Center. It's not NXT. You tell me you can finally shut me up once they get a TV deal. Other than that, ni me hables, fool.
Hey man,
Palabra.
I did my end. I posted my video pointing out that there is a botch. Let's let them do their thing, you know.
Thank you guys for watching. This is gonna be the first episode. Hopefully, I don't get lazy again, and I actually lock in, and hopefully, the take on doesn't leave me. Thank you guys. Appreciate
Stay,
it.
stay tuned, y'all.
Thank you. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first episode at the MFT Pod. Your host is Flemex, and here accompanies me, the Take On.
1, 2, is this on? Nah, it is working. What's up, Flemex? How's your day going?
Pretty good, man. It's not working today. Day off. A lot to talk about. A lot of wrestling happened. A lot of drama happened. A lot of things that I really want to talk about for our first episode.
I
Which
hear
we
you. I
tried
hear
doing
you.
the first episode, but we always failed because of undisclosed reasonings
Circum-
behind my laziness, and a lot of things happened. But we'll talk about that maybe another day.
Man, I was just waiting to get out of work just that way I can do this already, man. We'll see, because I was like, we gotta start this ASAP. Gotta get
Yeah.
that. Gotta get that bread. But yeah, my day was pretty busy. Pretty busy. As you know, in public safety, it can get a little very. It can come at you all at once. You know.
No, I feel
It
you. I feel you. But thankfully, everything is all good, man.
kind of like everything coming at you all at once during WrestleMania weekend. Let's talk about that.
Fuck. WrestleMania. What?
Who are WWE?
So I just want to point out, and maybe I'm part of the low minority, probably with the majority, but WrestleMania sucked. And this is coming from me. Obviously, I know that I've seen a lot of people complain about WrestleMania 25 main event, which I remember was Randy Orton and Triple H. That was pretty bad. But as a kid, I loved it, right? I stopped watching and everything. I'm barely back to it. I think which was in WrestleMania 40 when Cody Rhodes won the title, all that good stuff. But this WrestleMania just was super underwhelming. It sucked. And then the PR, the PR of WWE just sucked, dude. What do you think? That for palabra, fool. You need to talk, fool.
Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad.
Fool, now we gotta start it
My
again.
mic.
Fool, that's what.
Nah, we can't start all over again, man. We were doing pretty good. Hey, they're gonna forgive us, right? Y'all are gonna forgive us, right? So, hey, so we got multiple points to talk about during WWE's MAGA week. We gotta start with John Cena refusing to talk ill will on Vinny.
That's the only. I mean, I get his perspective. That man, Vince McMahon, pretty much made John Cena. John Cena owns his name, owns pretty much everything about him. A kid who was just pretty much lost, and obviously was given the opportunity, had so much success in the company from the old to 2000s all the way to almost 2025. It's kind of crazy, and I get his perspective. It's pretty much like a dad figure of him, but during the circumstances of what is going on, I just don't think it's. I just thought it was a perfect time to just close your mouth and and zip it. Not talk about him, just talk about your
It
main
was tone
event.
deaf. It was tone deaf.
Yeah, and I get it. It is his like best friend, I think. Well, I don't know, but I mean, under the circumstances, and I think we talked about this, like obviously privately, but if one of our friends was indicted with like fucking severe cases, I feel like that would be like a very iffy situation. I wouldn't want to talk about him or about it. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
100%. I agree. I don't know how he could just talk about it. I wouldn't be able to talk about it. It'd just be very uncomfortable. Cause it's kind of like, damn, like rub, why do you gotta pour salt on an open wound?
Yeah. So
Like
that's one
you,
thing.
you must be tone deaf to not really recognize that.
Yeah, and
Um,
then obviously WWE had a terrible week. Obviously there's a lot of political views being thrown left and right. You had Roman Reigns saying, "Yeah, uh, I like Donald Trump and stuff like that," and then Triple H saying he's a heel, which is so dumb, man. Like that man is so goofy. That
he's a
CTE has
mark
got
for
to him.
himself, bro. He's a mark for himself.
There's
Just like
no way this man said. So the economy is probably crashing. There's a lot of tents within everywhere around the whole country, and this man really said he's a great president because he's a great heel. He makes something out of it. Like, bro, I don't know, Triple H, something else.
let's talk about how learn to be fans.
Oh, also that his criticism. He's crashing out, and he's crashing out. But I really want to point out why he's crashing out. So yesterday, obviously The Rock to this Wednesday, The Rock went on